Okay, so I'm gonna start off a whole series of vids about films that I think that you should see. So most of them are pretty easy to find, either used or on Amazon or at FYE or wherever finer videos and DVDs are sold. We'll start off with a television series on DVD. This is from the BBC, and it's a 1970s series called Some Others Do Avon. The opening theme coincidentally actually spells out Some Others Do Avon in Morse code. It is a series about a bumbling boob called Frank Spencer, who meets a girl, falls in love, gets married, has a baby, everything, and tries to have a job, and can't seem to hold one down because he's a phenomenal klutz. There's a certain amount of slapstick, a certain amount of situational comedy. Um, it's terribly funny, and it stars Michael Crawford, who you may know on stage as the Phantom of the Opera. Or if you're a fan of Disney films from the 1980s, he was also in the film Condor Man. Uh, Condor Man wasn't as big a film as, or as big a success as the Phantom of the Opera, of course, but it's still a pretty good movie if you ever get the chance to see that. But you can pick these up on Amazon.com or from BBC America Shop Online for around $12 to $20. Not too much. Next is Bruce Lee's Game of Death. Now, this only features Bruce Lee in a few scenes, but it is a phenomenal film with a wonderful theme uh, in the opening and ending and throughout. It features the scene where he and Chuck Norris are fighting, as well as the fight between him and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Um, Most of the scenes are actually acted out by a body double because before Bruce Lee could continue with the filming of the actual drama scenes, he kind of died. So if you can pick this up, it's not too expensive, and it's available almost anywhere. Next, I'm recommending the two-disc deluxe edition of Batman Begins. As you can see, it has a wonderful wiggle picture on the front, which is always eye-catching and fun to have while you're watching the movie. Um, if you haven't already seen the movie, it's wonderful. And the second disc contains a selection menu for documentaries where you actually have to hunt for the clickables inside a graphic novel made specifically for the film release. So that's really cool. Next, I'm recommending one of AFI's all-time number one films, Citizen Kane, starring and directed and written by Orson Welles. This is a film that basically defined the epic political saga uh, and was based on the life of William Randolph Hearst. It is a little bit long, and the second disc contains documentaries on Wells, the making of Citizen Kane, on Hearst, and basically tells you all about everything you would ever want to know about Citizen Kane, but we're afraid to ask. The film itself is wonderful. It's in perfect aspect ratio to play on a TV, or you can play it on a widescreen. It doesn't really have a widescreen format in terms of its aspect ratio, but it's still a really excellent movie. I recommend you get this. Next is Easy Rider. This is an excellent movie. It shows the scenery of North America in ways that before had only been seen in documentaries. Has won some of the best music of the 1960s and stars some of the best actors of the day. Peter Fonda, Dennis Hopper, and Jack Nicholson play starring roles. Um, it talks about everything that was important in the 1960s, including the Vietnam War. Next, I'm going to simply say a quick word about the Alien series. First off, Alien. Excellent movie. Uh, your basic suspense horror flick, lots of dark, lots of steam, lots of industry. Um, really creepy, great monster. Sigourney Weaver's great, even in her other. And you have a wonderful cast surrounding them, including Ian Holm. Next is Aliens, a wonderful movie. I love the Marines; they're the best. Uh, it is a little bit sad. It's very scary. Uh, so if you have not seen this, this is a wonderful one as a creep show. Next is Alien This one was a bit of a miss when it came to the Alien series, and so they were really hoping to revitalize the series with this one, but it just wasn't Aliens, and unfortunately, it didn't really hit the audience where they wanted. Next is Alien Resurrection. Now, this was at a time when they were bringing back a lot of horror movies, Halloween, uh, Nightmare on Elm Street, all those. This was actually written by Joss Whedon, and the characters were later taken and made into the television series Firefly. I think that this is actually an excellent movie. It was directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet, who, if you see any of the other videos, you'll know is one of my favorite directors. It also has a great cast and has as much of the creepiness as anything. You may also want to look out for Brad Dourif as a particularly creepy scientist. Next, we've got a whole string of various movies, excuse me, from the Star Trek franchise. These special edition two-disc sets are available at FYE for not too much. You can also pick them up on Amazon or at your local game exchange. Any store basically will carry them. They're pretty much a hot ticket item right now, especially for Christmas. With the new Star Trek movies coming, with the new Star Trek movie coming out soon, they're actually trying to drum up a lot of interest by releasing all the series and all the movies on DVD. These two-disc special editions have a wonderful second disc included that has documentaries, featurettes, and fact files on everything, including from NASA officials about how the Star Trek universe could become real. So if you're a real fan of Star Trek or of these particular movies, go for it. They're quite excellent. Personally, I think that they only really got the Next Generation series right when they got around to Insurrection and Nemesis, which were the last two in the series. Even though they only made four total, First Contact was too much like an introductory film to the Star Trek universe, and Generations was too much, oh, well, we're saying goodbye to the old and hello to the new, and nobody really wants to see, all that. On the other hand, there was a great deal of spin-off that was done with it, and we did get to say goodbye to the family camper that was the Enterprise D, and in the next film, say hello to the Enterprise E, which a lot of people welcomed because it's what the Enterprise probably should have been in the first place. Uh, Insurrection only really was like about the saving of the rainforest and everything, so it was a little bit on the campy side, but you know, almost all of the Star Trek Next Generation films dealt with data in some way. This one had data playing a pivotal role. This one had data playing a pivotal role at the beginning and end. This one had data captured by the Borg, you know, and this one had data and his emotion chip problems. Data, data, data every time. Nothing, almost nothing with Geordi except for Generations, which was like the last of the ones done in the actual style of the television series. And Nemesis was such a great harkening back to actual Star Trek, dealing with aliens, dealing with action and politics, and actually really gave you what you expected from a 21st century Star Trek movie. I thought it was a wonderful goodbye to the series and a wonderful hello uh, to the new genre of Star Trek that we're hoping to see in this new film. Okay, and lastly are the original series Star Trek films. Now, now I personally am a little iffy on them, but the director's edition of Star Trek: The Motion Picture is excellent. It features everything you could want from the original motion picture. Many things that you might have missed out on in the first one, including text commentary in all of these Star Trek movies from Michael Okuda, with trivia and everything, as well as featurettes. Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, need I say more? Excellent. Star Trek III, pretty darn good follow-up. Star Trek IV, fun, a little bit campy. Star Trek V, Shatner gone mad. But if you like Star Trek, you gotta give it a chance. Star Trek VI, a wonderful return to the world that we left in Star Treks 1, 2, and 3. That's all for now. Bye-bye.